in the last, thanks for recording me. In the last few years, while many other companies, financial services industries, companies had to either shrink the workforce or they had to make decision that is not helping the company in the growth direction for the company. Well, we have been growing consistently every single year. And in fact, in 2020, the year of the pandemic, guess what? We had the best year in our entire history, right? And in 2021 was even better than 2020. And then this year, we're on track to even beat 2021. What that all means is this: we just basically help more families every single year, right? Making more positive impact in people's lives every single year. And because we are one of the top 3 offices in our company, guess what? Our office plays a huge role in those accomplishments, okay? And so all of that accomplishment, I would say, is due to the passion, the dedication, and of the heart of our speaker today. And I hope you all get to meet with him. So with a background in CPA, working for one of the top international consulting firms back then, Chris always had this feeling that he was missing something in his career. What it was is that he was looking for a career that allows him to do more meaningful work, or that he feels that he just can do more meaningful work, to have more positive impact in people's lives. And also ultimately, that he can see himself having financially free, to be financially free for himself and his family. Whether he didn't see that in his career, in that career. Well, lucky for us, he found that career in our industry. And he found the vehicle that allows him to have financial freedom in our company. So in the last 23 years, he has achieved that for himself. Not only that though, he's also developed and mentored several entrepreneurs having solid high six-figure income and on track to get financial freedom as well. So that's the impact that he wants to see himself doing. So in the last 23 years, he's also developed over 220 licensed agents, okay, operating in about 16 offices in Colorado, in US. What we have done though, is that we have helped tens of thousands of families get a financial help. That's something we're proud of, right? So not only has done that, I would say this is not his passion for what we do has helped us really motivate him and his wife to publish a book called Couples Month. Couples Month, you can find it on online. But the goal is to help people change the way they think so they can make better decisions when it comes to their money. Not only that, last but not least, it's not a surprise that he and his wife Marlo has been featured and interviewed by the leading financial institutions out there, like the Yahoo Finance, Market Watch, NASDAQ.com, Fortune Magazine, and there's 2, Forbes Magazine, and Money Mag. I know, I'm just like, can you just stop doing all that? Okay, so with that said, please help me welcome Chris Felton.
Yeah. Welcome, how we doing?
Excellent.
Awesome.
Okay, great to be with you guys today. And thanks, Tinza. Best one ever. What we're going to talk about today is the fact in the United States today we have a major problem. It's a crisis. We call it a wealth crisis. It's the fact that people don't understand how money works. They're mainly financially illiterate. And until now, there hasn't been a real solution to that problem. It'd be through our school systems, the industry, in our own homes with our own parents. And so we at WealthWave have discovered a solution to this big problem. So what we're going to talk about today is the problem, our solution to it, and potentially what is your role in helping us stamp out and eradicate financial illiteracy in the United States. So you might be with us for various different reasons, live and on Zoom. This is our new world, right? 50-50. You might first and foremost be a current client. I just want to say thank you, because without you, we don't exist. We don't have a business. So we're grateful for you. So thanks for tuning in. You might be on here as a potential client. You want to level up your financial literacy. You want to learn more about how money works. You want to see how we operate. We welcome you. You might be here today because, like me, many years ago, I was frustrated with my career, right? You're looking to have more time, more control. You want to make a bigger impact and do better for you and your family financially. So you're really looking at us from a career change standpoint. You might be here because you love what you do. But what the pandemic taught you is you could stand to save and make more money. Can anybody stand and save, make more money, right? Your bank hasn't called you and said, hey, your account's full, can't take any more money in. It's a big problem, right? And the big I word that's racing through our economy, inflation, right? People need to make more money. So you're really looking at us from a side business, side hustle opportunity. In that group, we have several of you here today. I call you trusted advisors. You already have clients that know, like, and trust you, and you're looking to add more value to them and create another stream of income for yourself. And so that's that group. And then the last group is what I call a center of influence group, where you're good financially, you're good with your business, you're not really interested directly in what we have to offer, but whoever invited you, they respect your opinion and they want you to know what it is that they're doing. So I call that group the center of influence group. And my goal with you is to turn you into what I call raving fan. You guys know what a raving fan is? Right? A raving fan is somebody that goes to a restaurant, you go to a movie, and you tell everybody about it. Okay, so we want you to feel that way about us, so that whoever invited you, you can make introductions in their market. And the thousands and thousands of people that we've helped over the many decades of our business, it's all come through introductions and raving fans and people like that. So my background, I grew up in Loveland, Colorado, 60 miles north of Denver. You guys know where Loveland is? Two great parents who, guess what? They didn't understand how money worked. They were financially illiterate. They argued over money, fought over money, stressed over money, divorced over money. 60% of divorces are tied back to financial stress. 5 leading killers in the United States today, stress related. So my mom worked her whole life, saved a grand total of $10,000, passed away way too early at 64 with colon cancer. Colon cancer was the reason, but I believe, can't prove it, but I believe it was stress that she experienced around money. I hate financial stress. From the time she was 5 till she was 64, she's always worried about, how am I going to pay my bills? How's this going to work? She was a single mom for a big chunk of that time. My dad miraculously made it all the way to 88, had multiple stress-induced illnesses, passed away about 4 years ago, and he died broke. So where did I take my money cues from? My parents. What did my parents tell me? Probably what your parents told you. Go to school, get good grades, get a good job with good benefits, don't rock the boat, don't take risks, and when you're 65, everything's going to be okay. Who's heard that story before? How's it working? It's pretty broken. It's pretty outdated. How do we know? Well over 90% of Americans retire broke. We live in the richest country on the planet and people are broke. But I went to Colorado State University, got an accounting degree, moved down to Denver in 1993, got my big corporate job as a corporate CPA, and I did what everyone else was doing. I was waking up, going to work, coming home, go to bed, wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed, wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed, rinse, repeat. I was working 60, 80 hours a week, climbing the corporate ladder, thinking I was getting ahead. And my turning point came during my most memorable week. And it was, we were in the middle of busy season, working on a super difficult client. We were way behind, and we had a deadline that fell the Monday after Easter Sunday. And it was looking like we're going to supervising 8 people. We're going to have to work on Easter Sunday. And when I disclosed that fact to my mom, that was her holiday. Easter was my mom's holiday. And she gave me that look that only a mom could give you, which is, your butt better be here. Figure it out. So figure it out I did. No sleep, tons of coffee. We got the job done. I worked 120 hours in a 6-day period. I come home at 11 o'clock at night before Easter Sunday. My brother and I shared a house together. He hadn't seen me in a week. He's sending me emails, leaving me voicemails. He didn't know if I got kidnapped or if I was a drug dealer now. Like, he didn't know what was going on. And so I walk in, and what's the last thing you want to do when you're that tired? Talk, let alone get interrogated. And so this is the closest to family intervention I've ever had in my life. And we started arguing. He was just like, what are you doing? Like, this is crazy. Are you gonna be doing this for the next 30, 40 years of your life? This is stupid. Like, da-da-da. So he got in my kitchen. We had an argument. I hated what was going on, but my brother gave me one of the greatest gifts of my life. He woke me up. He woke me up out of this hypnotic state, this hypnotic trance that us humans live in, right? I was Bill Murray in Groundhog Day. Nothing was changing. I was just what? Busy. I was aimless. And he got me to do the thing that we don't want to do. What's the hardest work on the planet? Thinking. We'll do almost anything to avoid thinking. We'll get opinions from the most ridiculous people instead of think. And so I recommend you do this, whether I see you again or not. Probably 5% will take me up on the offer. Actually schedule time to think. It's the greatest stuff you'll ever do. So I did. Don't reschedule on yourself. I scheduled it the next day. I grabbed a pad of paper and I grabbed a book called Think and Grow Rich. Notice the order. Think and Grow Rich. Get the book. How that book was created, Napoleon Hill was in his early 20s. He was working for a magazine. He gets introduced to Andrew Carnegie. He was our Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk at that time. He's the wealthiest man in the world, founder of US Steel with $500,000 in the 20s. And Carnegie had a 3-hour window to basically get interviewed by a 20-year-old. Pretty miraculous. And the instructions to Carnegie or to Napoleon Hill was just ask him how he created his success, get the notes, get the story, get out of there. Don't make us look stupid. So how did you become successful? Well, loaded question. 3 hours turned into 3 days. So he stayed there. Can you imagine the notes that you could get from somebody like that? At the end of 3 days, Carnegie said, hey, I really think we're onto something, because what people need more than ever, and guess what? It hasn't changed in 100 years. People need to understand the laws that create success in their life. You're going to write the book. My role is, I'm going to introduce you to my friends. So you're going to follow around a guy named Ford, right? Alexander Graham Bell, Woolworth, Wrigley, Rockefeller, 8 presidents, 5 prime ministers, 500 of the most successful people on the planet. It's going to take you decades probably. It ended up being Napoleon Hill's whole life. He's like, but the goal is, I want you to really get to understand these people and pull out the common themes, the common denominators that made their lives work, with the idea being, if we can figure out the common denominators that make them all successful, turn them into philosophy, then an average ordinary person can follow those same concepts, and we can do what they did. Pretty powerful. So the idea being, whether you want to have a successful marriage, relationship, business, finances, all those things, if you follow it, it works. If you don't, it doesn't. So I'm reading it. 3 things blew me away. Number 1, nobody told me. Nobody told me the laws that create success. It's almost like not understanding how gravity works. Nobody taught me the laws. My parents had no idea. That's why they struggled and they were broke. They didn't know the laws. Schools don't know. I don't know if corporations want you to know. And so I was grateful at that time in my life. I was finally learning it. Second thing that blew me away was I thought everyone he interviewed, I just chalked it up as society does around wealth. Wealth gets massively villainized through media because it sells advertising. Like these people interviewed, they're just all greedy capitalists, right? No. Like us, they were on a mission. They had a big purpose. They wanted to solve a big problem. In the process of solving a big problem, they got really wealthy, but they were all about making an impact first. I'm like, man, that's amazing. I'm not making any impact. I have no purpose. I'm just freaking busy. I'm just trading time for money, barely getting by. That's not a very inspiring way to live. So this whole thing of purpose got planted in my head. The third thing that blew me away was everybody in that book had these things called dreams. I was like, dreams? I remember those. Did you guys ever have them? We get older, dreams is for weird people. No, dreams are for the successful people. Where do they go? Well, I know where they go. They fall into this quadrant of our lives called important, non-urgent. What else falls over there? Our health, our spirituality, our relationships, money, which is one of the reasons why people are broke. All of it falls over there until it flips into what? Important and urgent. And it's too late to do anything about it at that point. So that hangs out over here. Where do we spend our time? Well, we spend our time in urgent. Most of it's not important. My mentor calls it the tyranny of the urgent. Most of it's not important, right? This cell phone thing, this is called the weapon of mass distraction, okay? Some of it is important. So when you're dealing with the tyranny of urgent, what happens? All the important urgent thing fall away. Dreams fall away. That's what was happening to me. It happened to my parents in my 30s. It was occurring to me. So I woke up. I said, what do I really want? Most people can't answer that question. They don't know what they really want. They're not super specific about it. People are like, why are you covering this in a business session that's talking about money and how money works? Because if you don't know how to think correctly, it really doesn't matter what we tell you. We got to coach, teach, and train clients, agents, people on our networks how to think correctly. Because our whole lives we're told what to think. We're not told how to think. And so this was my first shot back then of getting really clear about what I wanted. So if you get nothing out of today, schedule time with yourself, get really clear. Ask yourself, what do I really want my life to look like? What's my ideal life? Super powerful. So I got clear and I got excited. Then I got depressed because I looked at my vehicle that I was in. I'm like, I'll never do it. I can't be an employee and have that. So I must be a business owner. I must be an entrepreneur. I call it the moment of truth. Is that I either need to change this to get that or do what everyone else does. Shrink, settle, give up, and have my goals, dreams, and aspirations fit inside my reality. And then arrive safely at death. No, I wasn't going to do that. So I held on, looked for the vehicle. So frustrated with entrepreneurial landscape. It was like, I'm my own boss, but I'm my own janitor, and I'm my own bookkeeper. I'm my own coach. I'm unemployed. Every day I wake up. I wake up on January 1st. I got to do it all over again. I'm going to make more. I'm going to work more and make less. Wasn't appealing. I looked at every business under the sun you can think of. And then I landed on financial services because I was a CPA. I was telling Fortune 500 companies how to run their finance department, but my personal finance department was a disaster. Not saving and massive debt. If a CPA doesn't know how money works, what do you think about the rest of society? So I got intrigued about this. And I interviewed with some of the big firms. They brought me in, gave me offers, like, we'd love to have you. Go make a list of all the people you know that have over $1 million to invest. I'm like, that's zero. I grew up in Loveland, Colorado. I don't know those people. And they're like, well, I'm like, but I know. Well, who can we meet with, Chris? My mom. Certainly I could get an appointment, Chris, with my mom, right? But no, she doesn't qualify. She only has $10,000 saved. I'm like, I can't represent you guys. Because if I'm going to do it, my heart's got to be all about it. I couldn't represent that. So I was pretty frustrated. I'm about ready to give up. And I got invited to this, February 1999. Unbelievable. Showed up. I was skeptical. Why? Because broke people are skeptical. That's why they're broke. And I was shut down. My future business partner got up. He said 3 things that blew me away. Still get me excited today. I'm doing this for 23 years. Most people in my industry are trying to find a golf course today, but not talking to a room full of people about how to change your lives. I'm more excited about it today than I've ever been because of these things. Number one, it's all about a mission. It's all about making an impact. He said, we got to stamp out and eradicate financial literacy in the United States. No, you guys will see. No one else is doing it. Let's do it. Chris, you'll never get tired of that. I'm like, I know what financial lack does to a family. It destroyed mine. Everybody in my family had been broke for generations, and I was following that same path. So I got super jacked about the mission and what it is that we do. Second thing he told me is, hey, do it part-time. Stay part-time if you want. Add this, give us 6 to 10 hours a week, whatever. All those other firms wanted me to go full-time. 60% of our guys are part-time. Half of that group, they either, they got their other businesses, they add this on, or they want to have the safety of the job and the benefits and all that and just make more money over here. Great, love it. 40% is full-time, loved it. We look more like a Remax, Keller Williams real estate model brought to financial services. There was no risk. So I said, why not? And then the last thing he said was, when you do it right, Chris, you serve people, go to the bank in that order. We'll never have a problem when you serve people and go to the bank in that order. And you make an impact and you build it right. You wake up on January 1st, it's work optional. Work optional, meaning your recurring revenue from your business is greater than your bills. It's the first step of financial freedom. And what blew me away about that is he explained that. And that was about the 30 to 45-second explanation that shifted my entire life. Because of all the accounting I've done and CPA exams and all that, no one had ever explained a path to financial independence in less than 45 seconds. I'm like, what was that? I want to know more. So I got licensed, spent the first year talking people out of doing business with me because I was so bad. And then went full-time in February 2000, and here we are. And this is our new office. We moved in April, and we are launching, coming off record years. It's super exciting. The reason we're talking about it is we do not have enough people to join this mission because there's tens of millions of people that don't understand how money works. So that's our company. Two things that we do. Number one, front part of this presentation is going to talk about what we do for the consumer. We teach people how money works so we can break the cycle of financial illiteracy. That's what happened to me. It didn't matter how educated I was or how many designations I had behind my name. I would have drove us financially into the ground, just like what happened to my family, because no one's teaching the mentality and the how-tos, the higher laws and the lower laws. So I can say with all my heart, that's the truth. We've got to break it up. You can't just keep working harder and doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You got to have some coaching to get you out of the definition of insanity. I love that. The second thing we do, which I think is actually the bigger part of it, is people have to become entrepreneurs. The E to E mission is moving people from being an employee, even if it's part-time, right, to becoming an entrepreneur. And one of my good friends, a guy named Josh Tolley, wrote a book called Evangelpreneur. Highly recommend you pick it up. Evangelpreneur. And one of our great agents, Gwen Hartzler in Oklahoma, mailed me this book in the middle of the pandemic. And what he talked about in there before the word inflation was, you know, every other story in the news, is the truth of inflation has been, he's got the data to back it up. It's been 10% annually, 10% annual for the last 100 years. 10%. If you're an employee, real wage growth is 3%. You guys see a problem? My numbers guy over here sees a problem. You are losing the money game 7% per year. I read this book and I'm like, I got to get on a rooftop and scream. There's just people running around doing the same thing over and over again, thinking they're going to get ahead, and they're literally losing 7% per year. They don't make enough money. It's never going to happen being an employee. If you love what you do, that's fine. You got to have something going on the side. So what makes us different is everybody in our industry talks, right? Hey, got to save here, got to do this, got to do that. I'm sitting down with my clients going, hey, when do you want to know your house is on fire? When would you like to know your house is on fire? Probably now. Your house is on fire. What do you mean, Chris? You're losing the money game. So some of them come into business with me. If they don't, I don't really care. Because if you're about a mission, it doesn't really matter. I start strategizing and helping them get an entrepreneurial business going because they have to. And I could spend 4 hours on the before and afters of that and what's happened to people as they've done that. So I think that's the biggest part of our mission. I love it, right? And once again, that's the mission. Stamp out financial literacy everywhere so families can dream again. There's that dream word, right? So you can do it. And I know when you're broke and struggling, probably not dreaming too much. And we got to help people raise their incomes and understand how money works better. So 2 things that stand in our way. One is lack of financial education. So we'll talk about the book here in a second, but it's just, I don't know if you guys have ever read any financial books. Are they exciting? Not, right? I'm a big personal development guy. Love Tony Robbins. His money book was like this thick. I think I got through like 5 pages. It was a total snoozer. He could not make the print any smaller. Totally intimidating. It doesn't mean nobody's going to read that book. And that's the way it is. And is there not enough info? If you Google money, what do you think's going to come up? Tons of stuff, confusing stuff. People just, they don't really know where to turn. So we got to change that. And the second thing that stands in our way is really the industry. So for the past 100 years, the industry has won, the consumer has really lost. And here's what you need to understand about it. The less you know, the more profitable they are. The more clueless you are, the more money our industry makes, right? And these are things that we gotta, teach people on, and they're literally losing the money game 10, 15, 20 bucks a day. Does anybody blow 10, 15, 20 bucks a day on stuff? Yeah, this is a record. We've had like 100 people show, like 100 meetings. No one blows any money. It's unbelievable. How do we keep picking these people? It's unbelievable. Well, I'm going to throw myself under the bus. My name is Chris Feld. I'm a recovered spender. So our story, which is documented in Couples Money, we were broke. We had a lot of challenges. We had $250,000 of unsecured debt. We're in the middle of the Great Recessions. Bad things are going on. And I was falling into the trap. Well, once things get fixed out here, then I'm going to get my act together. Anybody ever had that one happen? Right? An external, outside-in approach to life doesn't really work. So I'm like, I got to figure this out. I got to remake my beliefs. I got to work on myself. And so I started working on myself, and I read for the 50th time a book called Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. Get it. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. If you don't read it, coming after you. Okay. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. T. Harv Eker wrote that book. I read it a bunch. And this time was the time that made the impact. And one of the principles in there was, until you start managing the money that you have now well and respecting money, don't expect to see anymore. Because if you can't take care of small things, you're not going to ever see big things. Success is all about small things cared for. It's not about big stuff. So I had a habit, because our office was at 17th and Stout. It was downtown for many years. Across the street was a Quiznos. I don't know why I got addicted to Quiznos. I might be the only person that's ever been addicted to Quiznos, but it was, right? And I had the devil and the angel on my shoulder. You had a good day, go eat. You had a bad day, go eat, right? I had that stuff going on. And so I'd go over there, and it was 10, 15, 20 bucks a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week. And so I read that, until you start managing the money you have now well, you're not going to see any more money. I'm like, that's why I'm broke. So I grabbed a calculator, and I figured out all the money that I've been spending, 10, 15, 20 bucks a day over 5 years. If I would have invested the difference at 8% compound interest, unbelievable. It was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a mistake. Unbelievable. Because it's not the money you blow, it's what it would have grown to. And broke people don't get that. I was broke. I finally got it. So we started handling small things and respecting money and respecting dollars of all sizes. And guess what? A miraculous transformation happened. So we got to wake people up to that, because they got money blowing out of their lives and they don't even realize it, because they're stuck in that thing. So those are things we got to do. And this is, so when the book came out in November of 2019, right before the pandemic, this is the first page. Financial literacy is the #1 economic crisis in the United States. And I was like, how is that even possible? There's got to be a bigger problem. And then guess what occurred? The pandemic. People weren't ready, were they? Give me a $1,200 stimulus check. Give me PPP loans. Unbelievable. They didn't have any money, right? Where I lived, restaurant owners, some of them I know, I respect, incredible operators, horrific with their money. They couldn't stay open for 2 or 3 weeks. They had to shut down. Unbelievable. I'm like, man, this is really a massive problem. We got to solve it, because you got all these issues, right? Not enough money to cover emergencies, student debt. We got great student debt options. Follow up with whoever invited you on that. Credit card debt. Anyway, so all this stuff, all these problems, all these issues, we couldn't find a solution out there that would even fit. And so our founder, Tom Matthews, and Steve Siebold, who's a personal mentor of mine, and has sold over 2 million, billions and millions of books, been on Good Morning America, and he's a rock star. And he did a 6-month research project on our company, wrote a book on it, and got so excited about us, he came on board. So they wrote this book called How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. #1 selling financial book of 2020, 2021, and so far in 2022. Over 250 media appearances. Why do people love it? Well, because Tony Robbins' book is like this, our book is like this, okay? And it's got pictures and characters and colors. We even have an analogy of how to use jelly beans to grow your wealth in 5th grade language and English, I should say. The media loves it because it meets people where they are. You can read in an hour and a half, and the feedback we get is people are learning more about how money works by reading this simple book in an hour and a half than they ever have in their entire life. So we need people to get these books in the hands of every American, and it's not to make them a PhD, it's to wake them up so that the industry doesn't take advantage of it, okay? So this is, if you are looking at our opportunity specifically, this is why our industry, the next several decades, will be one that you probably want to become a part of, okay? And, you know, so we got baby boomers. What do we know about baby boomers? They spent a lot of money. They didn't save a lot of money. They also want to keep contributing. They want to keep rocking and rolling. And if you're over the age of 50, make sure one of our agents gets you the New England Journal of Medicine study on you entering the prime of your life between age 50 to 80. I'm trying to single-handedly shift the paradigm on aging. Your peak years are actually your 60s to 80s, okay? There's lots of reasons for that. A whole study was done on that, but we welcome these people. Corporate America doesn't love them anymore. Gen Xer, that's me. Totally disenfranchised with the old model that we know is broken. And millennials have watched what's happened to their baby boomer parents. They don't trust the industry. They don't trust it. And what are they all about? Purpose and mission and making an impact. So we are attracting all these people, and it's the first time in the history of the United States, we got hundreds of millions of people that need help one way, shape, or form. They all need to get educated on how money works. They also need to make more money, and they must become an entrepreneur. So it's good stuff. And one of the problems that we solve is this. 63% of people are more afraid of outliving their money over dying. Do you guys hear that? Isn't that a crazy stat? I've probably said that a few thousand times. It's one of the craziest stats I've ever heard. So one of the problems we solve is this. And we got incredible solutions there. And I got time just for one story, because one of the things that we do, you guys like extreme makeover shows? We got some real estate people in here, right? It's like extreme makeover real estate show. Okay, this is extreme makeover financial version. And it's one of my favorite stories. And it's my client who came to me, Tanya. Tanya came to me in 2003. She's a CPA. She's a certified management accountant. She was head of audit for some healthcare company, super sharp. I get referred to her. 2003, I wasn't as confident then as I am now. So I'm sitting in front of this lady. She still kind of scares me a little bit. She really scared me back then. She said, "You come highly recommended." She was my first client that was really clear on, she's like, "I'm getting out of the game." March of 2011, unbelievable, it's been over 11 years. She said, "You're my guy." I was like, right, kind of did the gulp. I tried to talk her out of hiring me. It's the only time I've ever done it. Because I'm like, if I screw this up, she's probably gonna beat me up. Anyway, so I'm like, "Tanya, you're a CPA, you're a certified management accountant, your IQ's here, mine's here. Why don't you just do it on your own?" Right? You ever do your own, people? Right, Susie Orman. She's got shows and books, and you can watch her stuff, apply it, you're good. Kramer, right? Kramer's got stock picking books, right? He's screaming, "Hey, buy this, do that." I'm like, "Follow stuff, you do it on your own." She said, "Chris, please, you need to understand something. When emotion goes up, intelligence goes down." Anybody ever heard that before? When emotion goes up, intelligence goes down. Who's ever been in an argument with their spouse, significant other, boyfriend, Girlfriend, once again, the group that blows no money and they're basically robots. They never get in fights with anybody. How do we keep getting these guests? It's unbelievable. All right, that's why I always have to throw myself under the bus. Okay, so my wife, she's not on, right? She's not on? Okay. You never know. Sometimes she like changes her screen name and like, is he gonna talk about me? So my wife, she's awesome. I love her. But every once in a while, she says something. It presses a button. Guys, you know what I'm talking about? Presses a button. Never happens in the Meyer household. Presses a button. Emotion goes up, Kuna. Does that ever happen? Emotion goes up, intelligence goes down. I react without thinking. Guys, you ever done it? Right? Words come out, the words are coming out, and as they're coming out, you know you're screwed, and you're like, no, you're like trying to, right? You're actually trying to grab the words. Hits her ears, 5'1", volcanic Marlowe. Everyone in our office is scared of her. It's not a pretty sight, okay? And it doesn't end well. And I usually have to apologize. And the longer we're married, the payback period is always longer. I'm not sure how that works. Anyway, but I consider myself pretty emotionally intelligent, and that's happened more than I'd ever tell you guys. Why does that happen? I'm a human being. I have emotions. My emotion goes up, my intelligence goes down. When my emotion goes up, my intelligence goes down, I do stupid things. What my client taught me, that's the way she rolled with her money. That's how people roll with their money. Sometimes people are like, what value do you bring to the table? I'm like, we're not you. That's the ultimate value. And I could tell you dozens of more stories of people that I talked them out of doing the big mistake that they probably financially would have never recovered from. And so she's like, that's why I need you, because you're not me. I said, got it. She sold me on the value. We went to work. She avoided the downturn in 2008. We retired her in March of 2011. We sat down. She had happy hour at work. She had happy hour with me. And it's one of the coolest moments of my career. And I've got to do it a bunch. And it never gets old when I get to look a client in the eye and say, you will never, ever, 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 ever run out of money. How would that feel? You will never, ever, ever, ever run out of money. And I saw, and so Tanya, you know, it's pandemic kind of shut her down a little bit. She couldn't take her cruises, and she just started it again, but she would get on these 14, 21 day, 21-day cruise. I don't think I'd survive, but she'd get on these cruises. And how do I know she was on a cruise? Because I'm an early riser. I wake up and there was always an email that was like 5 pages every day from my client to me going, I woke up and I ate a bagel, and then I walked here, and then we did this, and we did that. It was like literally a recap of her whole day. And she's done that dozens of times. And every time I see her, she always is super thankful. And she's like, Chris, and by the way, she's got more money. I said, Tanya, all that money you've taken out, done fun, all this stuff, you have more money today than when you started, right? 11 years ago when you retired. And she said, Chris, I have peace of mind. I've never had to think about it. I'm so grateful. And my belief is that's the ultimate goal, is we want peace. And I know one thing, it's impossible to have without having financial peace. And so for the one Tanya story, we got a lot of them. There's millions and millions we never get to. And that's why we got to grow our group. And this is what people are dealing with, okay? So I've been flying a lot lately. It's just a habit. When I get on the plane, I always make sure there's 2 wings. So huge tip today for you guys, right? Always make sure there's 2 wings. There's 1 wing, I'm not getting on there. I joke a little bit, but this is what's going on with people. They're trying to fly through retirement with 1 wing. They think Social Security and their 401k plan is going to get them the promised land. It's not going to do it, especially with inflation where it is. This wing is exposed, or it's not even there. This wing is you. I think this wing is you being an entrepreneur. If you Google the term gig economy, that's the economy we're in. Uber's a gig, Airbnb's a gig. We're a professional services version of that gig. And so that's why this is E to E, and this is what people must do. They have to, it's not optional. They have to add a side business. They're not going to make it. So this is what we do for the client. Okay, it's complimentary. We get compensated by all the companies that we work with. So we're independent. We work with every financial services company you can think of. Hundreds of companies, thousands of different investments. So what's cool is when people come to us, we don't have an agenda. We're not trying to shove something down their throat. It is us figuring out what they need, figuring out what the best situation is for them. And we get paid by those companies where we bring you to. So we don't charge, $1,500 tip just to sit down and talk. So this is what we want to do. We want to get people financially educated. That's the book, that's the classes that we do. Proper protection. This is life insurance. Your biggest asset is not your car, your home. Your biggest asset is your ability to make money. It has to be protected, but that often falls into the important non-urgent quadrant. I'll get to that tomorrow. One of the biggest markets we're dealing with right now, long-term care insurance. Unbelievable how big that problem is. If you go over the age of 65, right, and this is some of the trusted advisors we have here, you need to be thinking about this, your clients, you personally. You go over the age of 65, there is a 75% chance you will need assisted living. You guys hear that? I know I throw numbers at you. If you knew there's a 75% chance your house was going to burn down, what would you do? So I turned 50 in August. I got my first long-term care policy when I was 42. I was sitting in a class. I didn't really want to be there. I had to get certified. They just revamped the whole marketplace. And the guy could sense my skepticism. He said, "Hey, Chris, you're a saver, right?" "Yeah, I am." "So do you want to save your whole life and then get wiped out in 3 years? What do you think the inflation rate is on assisted living? You think it's 10%? It's massive. So people are going to save their whole life and get wiped out. And 8% of the people have it. And there's a 75% chance. Anyway, huge market. If anyone's been through that with loved ones, it's a mess, okay? So we've got to protect people on that. It's a huge market. Reserves, emergency funds, debt management, student loan debt, all these things, right? So this is stuff that we walk people through. Cash flow, budgeting, once again, increasing your income, I think is paramount. Personally, I think it's the biggest part of our mission. We got to teach people how to do this. Build wealth. How much money am I going to need? Most people don't know that either because they're what? They're super busy. I'll get to that tomorrow. No. What are you going to need? How much do you need to put away? Okay. All the different funds, we call them personal pension, all IRAs, 401ks. Work a lot with business owners. We can help a lot of business owners. We do financial literacy training for employees. Okay. Lots of cool things we do, protect wealth. So anyway, if you're here from a client standpoint, follow up with whoever invited you, get through that. And one of the solutions we bring to the table, kind of the foundational piece of what we do, is called the Swiss Army knife financial product. So camping, if you are a camper, which we're not, are you a camper? You guys don't camp?
I tried it during the pandemic.
You tried during the pandemic and
Glamping.
you glamp, yeah. So my wife's like, okay, hotel room, window open, check. Okay, that's her deal. So, but I'm told what you don't do is you don't go into your kitchen as you're heading out camping. You don't grab a knife and a spoon and a fork and scissors and corkscrews, and throw that in your pocket and run out. You grab what? A tool. Swiss Army knife. One tool accomplishes many jobs. We have that product internally here. And what it does is it has zero market risk, which has been super amazing. It's the number one way that my wife and I invest. We were just talking about it last night. Like, how cool is it? We're not participating in these losses with a big chunk of our assets. Okay, awesome. And we got locked in on great rates last year. You add the long-term care piece, huge. Got to have that. And then you guys like paying taxes? Maybe like paying taxes? No. We avoid, not evade bad, avoid good, through what we do here. Okay. And the way the investment works inside of that is we call it the Tic Tac Toe of investing. It's the best of both worlds. On the left side, you have fixed accounts, CD, money markets, cash, all that. And they just raised our savings account to 1.1% yesterday. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. So that means my money's going to double every 72 years. That's exciting. Okay. Not good. Okay. But over here is what? So can't lose. It's tough to make money over there. You're definitely not going to keep up with an 8 to 10% inflation rate. Over here is great, but people are experiencing this. So what the investment component in that does is it provides this with the safety of that. Market-like returns, but you can't lose. It's called an index account, and it's beautiful. And it needs to be part of everybody's strategy. So if Swiss Army, you're like, I want to know more about the Swiss Army, and I follow up with who invited you so we can go through it. So E to E, second part of what we do. For those looking at our business, here's the 5 concerns when starting a business. And we do a great job overcoming these concerns. Number 1 is investment. This was my challenge when I was trying to leave corporate America, and I was looking at different businesses out there and like, come on board, give me 500 grand. I didn't have it. Okay, McDonald's, $2 million. Unbelievable. The average net profit of a McDonald's, 150 grand a year. What does that mean? Your break-even point is 13.33 years. Can you imagine giving somebody $2 million and you start getting into black 14 years later? No, us, a few $100 to get licensed. If you want to get fully licensed, then we're talking $1,200-1,500. No big deal. You can get that return like I did back literally within a month. Time. Okay, this is my favorite excuse. When we do a follow-up interview with people like, I don't have time. So one of my good friends in our company in Atlanta, Georgia, JD Phillips, did a 9-minute video on time. Here's what he studied. He spent a lot of time on it. We have 168 hours a week. Okay, so he did a study. He gave people plenty of time. He gave you 3 hours a day to eat. I just watched a bunch of you eat. There's no way you're spending an hour on each meal. So, but, right? 3 hours a day to eat, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, time with the family, church, all this stuff. So what did he figure out? Of all that stuff, he could only count for 124 hours. I'm sorry, 144 hours. 144 hours. So if we have 168 hours and you're using 144, when people are like, I don't have time, I'm like, no, you're spending 24 hours on your weapon of mass distraction. Everybody's got literally 24 hours of time that they can build a business. With us, maybe 6 to 10 hours. Knowledge. Okay, we'll train you. The majority of the people that come on board have no background in this. Super learnable, super trainable. Whatever you do today, you know nothing about that either. Need, hope you guys are picking that up. Tremendous need. Average age of an advisor in our industry is 62. It's not that 62 is old. 20 years ago, it's 42. It's not working. Average age in our company is 38, but we have 80-year-olds and 18-year-olds. Okay, so there's a need, and the risk off. That's what drew me here. I could test drive it. I could keep my job. I could go full time. I could stay part time. 90% failure rate in our industry in the first 2 years. Okay, so the risk is off. So we cover all those concerns. And who's read that book? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Another book. So you guys like, I came to a meeting and all I did was buy books. Okay, get that book because it really explains well what's going on here. And it explains in a picture what our goal is, what we're looking to accomplish. And so in the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Rich Dad, just say Poor Dad was his real dad. Poor Dad told him what my parents told me. Go to school, get good grades, everything's gonna turn out okay. His dad had 8 degrees, superintendent of the Hawaii school system, was an employee his whole life, died broke. His rich dad was his best friend's dad. High school dropout, had to drop out of high school, run his family's business, became the wealthiest man in the state of Hawaii. And he drew this on a napkin for him and said, son, this is the financial education that you need, okay? Your dad said to do this. And then people get sick of doing this and they become self-employed. Self-employed's fine, you can do okay, but guess what? You're unemployed every day you wake up, are you not? Right? You don't make money unless you're out constantly producing. You go on a vacation, you're stressing out because you're not making any money. Okay, it's fine. This is where 96% live. And most of them struggle and they're broke, unfortunately. He said, you got to become a business owner. You got to own a system. Why do people spend $2 million on McDonald's? Because it's a proven system. They want to have a system in place. They train people, people run the system runs the business. How does that relate to us? That's what we do. We're system builders, right? We build the systems so that people can run their business. And the idea is you create so much passive income off your business that you become a long-term investor. So you get financially independent off your business, get financially independent off your business, off your investments. This is the goal of what we do. Chris, how do I do it with you guys? Keep your job. Give us 6 to 10 hours a week, okay? And you might just stay here and you make money in these two and you invest, you get financially independent that way. Slower, that's okay. But if you're like, Chris, I want to do it quicker, well, self-employed, then you move here. System, you help us open offices, you help us expand, okay? So anyway, our jobs get left to the right. This is what we're all about. Personal growth and development, family, not lip service. Got a lot of guys here. A lot of people have been with us longer than 15, 20 years. It's cool when you have financial capacity, right, Chris Acuna? Yeah. Right? You focus on your family. We're not beating your doors down. Unbelievable. Strength of character, teamwork. Team's good. Being by yourself, not so fun, right? I love working with people. I love working in groups, right? It's all good. Recognize, lovingness, and this is it, right? You guys can say a slide. Is it true? Interview whoever invited you. And just ask them, is this true? How are you treated here? It's a great question. You're gonna love the answers. That's what it's all about. It's all about helping people have a better life. And this is some of the amazing people that are with us, right? In different backgrounds, no experience required. Former basketball coach, former CPA, Caldwell. He's so fun because he's such an easy. He was a drug dealer. Anyway, he was a drug dealer. Was a nutritional supplements president, whatever. I just say everyone was a drug dealer because he's kind of got a big ego. It's just kind of fun to poke at him. Anyway, Cobb, what Acuna, what are you? Former realtor, right? We love Chris. Chef, cooked, and he's a college dropout. He's a chef at a nursing home, right? Reed's our smart rocket scientist. Anyway, landscape architecture. Tinza worked at USPS. That's my wife. She was a hairstylist. There's Steve Siebel. If you're a football fan like me, great Marshall Falk, Hall of Fame running back. Did a 6-month research project on us, gave up his broadcasting career to go full-time with us. And he's a pretty smart guy, right? Great business guy. Different backgrounds, and they're all winning here in a big way. So compensation, this is one way that we get paid. This is just one example of one solution that we offer people. This is basically helping one family a month. So someone that's part-time, you can come over here and help one family a month. And is it get rich quick? No. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Good stuff, right? And like Reed, we have people part-time, 6 figures. Is that overnight? No. It's possible here with recurring revenue as well. That's not even included in this. And then as you produce, guess what? You climb. That's what I loved about it. Because in my corporate career, I was like, how do I get ahead? I'm like, nobody could give me a straight answer. It was all political, it was all BS. When I interviewed in the industry, how do I get ahead? Nobody could do it. This appealed to me. Chris, you get after it, you get it. You don't, you don't. This was laid out to me. It took me a year to get up, own my own agency, and then I chose the leadership development part of what we do. And what drew me to this was no cap on my income, which is phenomenal. Anyway, but you can go through more in-depth compensation stuff with whoever invited. So wrapping up, here's some options for you. Those that are watching, number one, hey, Chris, I need to get a book. I need to get through those 7 money milestones. I got to get a financial game plan handled. So schedule that. You guys, I'll go through the feedback form that's under your notes there. We ask that you guys fill that out and schedule the time with whoever invited you. Part-time. Everybody starts part-time with us, okay? Get the business going. You can stay part-time, go full-time, and then it makes sense to you when, it'll make sense for you when you want to go full-time. So let me just be super clear about who's a great fit for us so we don't waste time, okay? Number one is the people that work and do well and are successful with us, you must have a heart for helping people. And I know that kind of sounds stupid, but we've had people say, I want to help people, but they were really about the money. They don't make it here long-term. Beautiful part is, if you take care of people, you're going to do well financially, okay? So that's the first thing. Number two is you got to want to grow and develop. If you're all about your comfort zone, it's not a good place for you, okay? Because the life you want is outside this little bubble that you're attached to. Our job is to coach you to get you outside, because the life that you want and the freedom you want is out here. It's not in the bubble. One of my favorite quotes is, a life spent seeking comfort results in an entirely uncomfortable existence. And you saw it in the pandemic. People got wiped out because they were addicted to comfort, no matter how dysfunctional it was. They stopped growing a long time ago. And you'll only get fulfillment in your life if you're growing and impacting other people. End of story. It'll never come in stuff. Okay? So if you're about that, you'd be good for us. The last thing, you must be coachable. Has anybody ever worked with uncoachable people? Freaking nightmare. Okay? Have no interest. And the beauty of our model is we have no incentive to lead you down a long path, give you bad advice. This is not corporate America. This is an entrepreneurial business. You win, we win. It's awesome. Okay? But if you want to grow and develop, if you're coachable, okay, you want to have a better life, right? Then follow up with whoever invited you. So last few questions. Good questions, good thinking. These are things that were asked of me back in the day to get me thinking. When you do your follow-up interview, these are questions that you need to be able to answer, okay? So for the center of influence people that are here listening on behalf of somebody else, who do you know that could benefit? Follow up with whoever invited you. Figure out how we can help you, connect you, right? We're great networkers and great referrers. So just have that meeting regardless. Personally, could this help you and your family? Are you intrigued with this business? For me, I was massively intrigued back in the day for all the reasons that you heard. Then I was asked, why would I? I had a big list of why. And it was tied back to really changing my family legacy forever. And I'm grateful that has happened for us. And then I was asked, could you think of a reason why you wouldn't give it a shot? That was an interesting question. It was going to be new, right? And so when something's new, sometimes our mind's like, oh, that's new, that's uncomfortable. Everything you do today, you knew nothing about that either, right? One of my favorite books, I think it's Maria Forleo. Everything is figure outable. Wonderful book. That's what this is about. Everything's figure outable. You'll be able to figure it out. But I knew if I didn't give it a shot, it would always be in the back of my mind. Right? And I didn't want to have regrets at the end. So I made a decision. I couldn't have been busier. And when you make a decision like that, then you start finding evidence everywhere to support it, right? So I read an article. It's a quote. Most men and women die at 25. We just wait till they're 85 to bury them. I was like, what does that mean? Settle, give up, arrive safely at death with regrets. I'm like, whew, I don't want that to be me. And then it was an article after that, USA Today wrote, interviewed 10,000 people over the age of 80. And the question they asked was, if you had to go back in time, what would you have done differently? And the answers were heartbreaking. It was like, oh, I would have taken more risk. I would have started that business. I would have done this. I would have done that. I would have. And I was like, oh my God. I'm thankful I read it because I'm like, I do not want that to be me, because they had the thing that I did not want to have, which was regrets. So I'm grateful. I came on board took small steps. It all unfolded as I kind of went away. And it's been an amazing miracle for me and my family. And it really does have the horsepower to make your dreams come true. And we're here to help and support you do that. So, so fill out on the back of the page here the feedback form, schedule with whoever invited you. We'll answer your questions, we'll answer our questions. We'll see if it's a fit, and if it is, can't wait to meet you and introduce you to, or welcome you, I should say, to this incredible journey of stamping out and eradicating financial literacy in the United States. So thanks for your time, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Where's that music?
That is about someone.
Yeah.